Sirens wailed across New Eden as the sky turned black with enemy ships. A feathered alien woman stepped from the forest, placed a massive blue-gold egg into a human hunter's arms, and whispered, "Congratulations. You're the father." What followed was war, love, and the birth of a new future. Beat. Then voice lowers. Direct to audience. Before we dive in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It helps us bring you more HFY stories every week. Stay with us till the end, because the moment this egg hatches will change everything. Morning mist lay on the alien trees like thin silver cloth. Wayne McNab walked quietly through the forest path with a high-tech bow on his back. He was the chief hunter of New Eden Colony. He liked hard work. He liked clear rules. Find food, keep people safe, go home tired and proud. That was his life. Today felt different. Birds were silent. Leaves did not sing, even the wind was careful. Wayne stopped. His visor showed warm shapes ahead. Not animal. Not human. The shape was tall, slim, and bright at the edges like a small sun behind a curtain. He set an arrow. He held his breath. The figure stepped into the light. Feathers. Black bodysuit. Gold and gray shimmer on her arms. Eyes like amber fire. He knew her. A month ago, a feathered stranger had come to his tent in the deep night. She had touched his chest with a hand that felt like soft lightning. She had said nothing. She had left before dawn. He had told no one. He had tried to forget. "Hello, Wayne," she said now. Her voice was music. "We must talk." He did not lower the bow. "Start talking." She held out a bundle wrapped in a shining cloth. She unwrapped it slowly. Inside lay an egg almost the size of a helmet. Its shell changed color in waves, blue, gold, blue, like a living sky. "Congratulations," she said. "You are the father. I am Noria of the Avari." Wayne's mouth went dry. He looked from the egg to her eyes. "That is not possible." "It is rare," Noria said softly, "but not impossible. My people adapt. Your people adapt. Sometimes the universe says yes." The air shook. A deep drum rolled across the clouds. Wayne looked up. Trails of black ships cut the morning open like knives. Noria's feathers rose. "The Drachnid have followed me. They harvest worlds. They take all things that breathe. If they land here, your colony will become numbers on their cargo lists." Another boom, closer now. Wayne finally lowered the bow. He stepped forward and took the egg. It was warm. It was heavy. The shell vibrated against his palms as if a tiny heart beat inside. "What do I do?" he asked. "You protect it," Noria said. "You protect your people. And you trust me." They ran. The forest turned a blur. Vines whipped past. Noria slid over roots like a dancer. Wayne ran like a soldier, steady and fast, center of gravity low, eyes scanning for danger. Above them, dark fighters screamed across the sky. Bits of burning bark rained down. "Tell me about those ships," Wayne said between breaths. "Armored. Smart targeting. Cyberlinks in the pilots' heads," Noria replied. "But they have a weak point near the engine intake. Small. Exact. A true hunter can hit it." Wayne nodded once. "Then I am the right hunter." They broke from the trees and climbed the ramp to the north wall. The colony spread below. Metal rooftops, green hydro bays, yellow emergency beacons. Sirens cried. Families rushed toward underground doors. Soldiers took positions. A friend waved them over. "Captain Chesler," Wayne called. "Open a lane for civilians. We need the command center." Chesler's eyes hit the egg and went wide. "Later you tell me that story," he said, half joke, half shock. He slammed a fist on the wall control. "Go, go!" Inside the command center, screens showed the sky. Operators talked fast. The colony leader, Colonel Halley, turned when Wayne and Noria entered. Her face did not move, but her hands tightened on the table. "Report," the colonel said. Noria stepped forward like a trained officer. "First wave, fighters to test shields. Second wave, dropships to cut power. Third, ground troops with bio-augments. You can disrupt their aim by flooding the local field with a specific frequency." "Can we do that?" Colonel Halley asked. Wayne answered. "We can retune the shield generators and create a disruption bubble. It will mess with their cyberlinks," the colonel nodded. "Do it." Noria pointed at a schematic on the screen. "Your hunter can also hit this intake point. One arrow, exact angle, fighter falls. The Drachnid do not expect primitive projectiles." Wayne looked at the egg in his arms. He felt its small pulse again. He looked at Noria. He looked at the colonel. "Give me the north wall," he said. "Give me EMP arrowheads. Give me a spotter." "Approved." the colonel said. And the egg? Noria met Wayne's eyes. For a moment, all sound dropped away. No sirens, no screens, only her voice low and certain. I will guard it, she said. I give you my word. Wayne hesitated, then passed the egg into her hands. She placed it in a clear cradle, locked a field over it, and set 2 armed guards beside it. The shell glowed a little brighter like dawn under glass. Alarms howled. Fighters inbound, someone shouted. Wayne ran. He climbed the wall stairs 2 at a time. The first black fighter dragged a trail of sparks across the clouds. He drew and released in one smooth motion. The smart arrow curved, corrected, and stabbed into the small dark oval near the engine. The fighter coughed, rolled, and fell out of the sky. It tore a second fighter with it like a hooked fish taking the line. Cheers burst along the wall. Do it again, Chesler yelled. Wayne did it again. On the third shot, he spoke into his mic. Noria, do you copy? I am here, she answered. Her voice was calm. Your aim is true. Stay close to the egg, Wayne said. I am close, she said. Listen. If the fighters fail, they will send burrowers below your bunker. Watch the ground. The Drachnid never stop at one plan. Understood. Lightning ran along the shield frame as Tex retuned the field. The air tasted like metal. Enemy fire scattered wide when it touched the bubble. A few shots still hit true. One corner of the wall jumped and shook. Wayne kept shooting. He hit, missed, hit, hit. Each success bought seconds for one more family to reach a door. Then the sky went dark. A dropship opened like a black flower above the power hub. Metal seeds fell toward the grid. Cut-o lines, Chesler shouted. Hold the east stair, someone else cried. Wayne's quiver felt light. He had 3 arrows left. He chose the closest seed and fired. It exploded early, but 2 more hit the ground and opened like metal spiders. Ground teams, move, came Colonel Halley's voice. We meet them at Junction 4. Wayne took a breath. He looked once toward the command center dome where the egg glowed like a small sun. He looked at the sky where new shadows gathered. He looked at the forest where his quiet life had ended. He set his last arrow. He smiled. A small, sharp smile a hunter wears when the trail turns dangerous and the heart wakes up. Come on then, he whispered. Try to take what breathes. And he jumped from the wall into the war. The north wall shook under the weight of explosions. Metal dust rained from the beams and sparks ran down the shield like angry rivers. Wayne McNab braced his boots on the ramp, his bow raised again. Above him, the black Drachnid fighters swooped like hawks made of steel. Each one carried death in its belly. Every pass set the colony's world trembling. Wayne loosed his arrow. The smart head curved, found the weak intake point, and ripped open a jet of blue fire. The fighter screamed and folded on itself before it struck the ground in a ball of ash. But for each one that fell, 2 more cut the sky. Sector East under heavy pressure. Captain Chesler's voice cracked in his ear. Shields are flickering, get ready for breach. Wayne's quiver rattled empty. He had 1 EMP tip left. He pulled it free and set it on the string. He breathed once, twice, then loosed. The arrow sang like thunder and exploded inside a fighter's core. The machine dropped fast, but it was not enough. The first dropship broke through. It descended like a claw. Panels unfolded. Legs slammed into the ground. Metal mouths opened and spilled cyber soldiers onto the earth. They moved in rhythm step for step as if one mind carried them all. Their armor gleamed with an oily shine and each held a weapon fused to their arms. Wayne jumped from the wall, rolled hard, and came up on one knee. He drew his combat blade. Civilians in Sector 7 are trapped. The colonel's voice rang in his ear. I'll reach them, Wayne answered. He sprinted through smoke and falling sparks. Families rushed by, clutching bags, pulling children toward bunkers. Fear was louder than any siren. Wayne cut across the street, past a burning solar tower, and saw them. 20 scientists and farmers cornered near the transport hangar. The Drachnid squad advanced on them like a dark tide. Wayne's blade flashed, but he was one man. He needed a storm, not a spark. Then the storm came. Noria dropped from above with feathers spread like blades of fire. Her black bodysuit had shifted. Small armor plates now flowed along her frame, hugging her movements without slowing her speed. She landed in the center of the Drachnid line. Her weapon lit with pale arcs of light, and every strike broke an enemy's stance. Wayne, she called. Her voice cut clear through the chaos. Flank them! He moved without thought. His boot slammed on metal floor, and he carved into the Drachnid line from the side. Noria danced through the center, leaping, spinning, feathers glinting like steel. Together, they carved open a path. Move! Wayne shouted to the civilians. Run to the bunker. The people did not hesitate. They broke past the line and vanished into the smoke. Wayne and Noria stood back to back, their breath hot, their blades bright. The last soldier fell, twitching sparks from his broken circuits. For a moment, there was silence. Then the ground cracked. A huge machine pulled itself up from below, spider legs of black alloy, a glowing cannon on its back. It shrieked, a sound that drilled into bone. Noria's feathers rose sharp. A burrower, she hissed. They want to dig under your bunkers. If it survives, the shelters fall. Wayne looked at her. His chest still heaved from the fight, but his eyes burned steady. Then we kill it before it digs. The burrower reared, claws slicing at the ground. Wayne drew his last arrow. His bow linked to his visor, scanning weak points. None showed. The armor was too thick. It's shielded, he growled. Noria pressed close to him. Her feathers brushed his arm, and for one heartbeat he felt a pulse like static running through his veins. She leaned in, eyes fierce. Remember our night? She whispered. Wayne froze. He knew exactly what she meant. That night her touch had felt electric, alive. He had thought it was passion, but now he felt it again. A surge ran through him, burning but not painful. His skin hummed. His bow glowed faint blue. What is this? He asked. Our bond, Noria said, her voice strong. My people can pass power to chosen mates. You carry it now. Use it. The burrower fired its cannon. The blast tore the street apart, throwing dust and stone. Wayne stood firm. He aimed. He let the energy flow through him into the bow, into the arrow. He released. The shot hit like a lightning strike. The arrow did not bend. It punched straight through the burrower's shield, right into its core. Blue fire burst from the machine's chest. It stumbled, screamed, and collapsed in a shower of sparks. Wayne lowered the bow slowly. His hands shook, but not from fear. From power. Noria stepped beside him. She touched his arm gently. You see now, she said. We are stronger together. Before Wayne could answer, more shadows fell across the ground. Dozens of dropships were cutting through the clouds. The war was only beginning. Wayne looked at her, then at the glowing egg still locked inside the command center vault. He set his jaw. We fight, he said simply. And as the sky filled with fire, the hunter and the feathered scout ran side by side into the storm. The colony shook like a drum under a giant's hand. Every wall, every street, every shield beam trembled with the storm above. Drachnid dropships circled like vultures, sending wave after wave of cyber troops through the smoke. Wayne McNab crouched behind a half-burned transport, his bow in hand, heart hammering in his chest. The arrow he had fired at the burrower still glowed in his mind. The memory of that surge, blue fire racing through his veins, had left him unsettled and strangely alive. Noria dropped beside him, her feathers spread wide, her eyes sharp as steel. Her black armor plates flickered with faint energy. Your body holds the charge well, she said calmly, as if they weren't pinned down by enemy fire. I was right to choose you. Wayne shook his head. You gave me alien lightning powers from one night together. You didn't think I'd need a warning? Her feathers rippled in amusement even while her weapon hummed in her hand. Some things are better discovered in battle. Before Wayne could answer, a roar shook the air. A Drachnid war beast leapt over the barricade. Its form was half machine, half flesh, 8 legs, claws like hooks, glowing eyes wired to a cyber core. It landed with a quake, and the civilians hiding behind Wayne screamed. Noria hissed, feathers flaring. A shockhound. They use it to hunt and tear through groups fast, the beast charged. Wayne rolled aside as claws ripped the transport into pieces. Sparks showered around him. He raised his bow, but his quiver was down to basic steel tips. No EMP, no guidance, arrows won't pierce that armor, Noria warned, spinning to fire pulses from her weapon. Bright arcs hit the hound, slowing it but not stopping it. Wayne breathed hard. He remembered that surge again. The power, the bond. He reached for it. At first there was nothing, just fear. Just noise. Then he felt her. Noria's feathers brushed his shoulder as she slid beside him, covering him with a shield burst. The spark ignited again, humming under his skin. Wayne knocked an arrow. Blue light crawled up the shaft, wrapping it in fire. Guide me, he whispered. Noria's hand touched his back. The hum rose into a steady roar. Now, she said. Wayne loosed. The arrow streaked like a comet. It slammed into the beast's chest, cutting through its cyber core. The hound convulsed, legs buckling, then crashed into the ground with a sound like thunder breaking stone. The civilians gasped. Some cried, but they were alive. Noria turned to Wayne, feathers trembling with heat and pride. Do you understand now? He met her eyes. I understand this bond could kill me if I push too far. Or save us all, she countered. Before they could speak again, another alarm screamed. A new shadow moved through the smoke, this one far bigger. A Drachnid war machine, tank-sized, crawled into view. It had twin plasma cannons, armored legs, and a throbbing core shield that pulsed like a beating heart. Wayne cursed under his breath. That thing will tear the bunker open. Noria's face hardened. Then we bring it down together. They moved. The machine fired. A beam of green fire scorched across the ground. Wayne dove, rolling behind fallen steel. Noria darted high with her suit's boosters, distracting the cannons. Sparks flew as beams chased her across the sky. Wayne's hands shook. He had 2 arrows left, plain steel, but the bond was still humming inside him. He touched the arrow's shaft and felt heat. Noria's voice cut through his calm. Its core vents are underneath. You must strike there. Then keep it busy, Wayne growled. He sprinted low, darting between debris as the machine turned its guns on Noria. She danced through the blasts, wings of fire against the smoke. Wayne slid under the machine's body. He saw the vents glowing faint red. He drew an arrow, aimed, and called on the power. His vision blurred. His skin buzzed. The arrow glowed brighter, brighter, until it hurt to look. He let go. The shot drilled into the vent, straight into the machine's belly. Blue fire erupted from within. The war machine convulsed, then exploded in a storm of sparks and shattered steel. Wayne flew back from the blast, landing hard on the ground. For a moment the world spun. Noria dropped beside him, pulling him up with surprising strength. Her feathers brushed his face. You live. Barely, Wayne rasped, his chest aching. The hum in his veins was fading, leaving him weak but still standing. The civilians clapped. Some bowed. One child whispered, He saved us. Wayne shook his head. We saved them. He looked at Noria. Together. She smiled, fierce and warm. Then you see why I chose you. Before Wayne could answer, Captain Chesler's voice shouted through the comm. McNab, we've got good news and bad news. The good news, enemy air squadrons are falling back. The bad news, there's a whole fleet dropping out of hyperspace. Big ones. Wayne and Noria looked up. The cloud split open. Massive silhouettes filled the sky, blotting out the sun. Not Drachnid ships, sleek shining vessels of pearl and gold. Their hulls shimmered like living feathers. Noria's eyes widened, her feathers glowing with pride. The Avari fleet, she whispered. My people have come. Wayne exhaled in relief. About time. Noria's expression shifted, joy mixed with tension. You should be careful what you wish for, she said softly. My mother commands that fleet. Wayne froze, sweat dripping down his temple. Your mother? Yes, Noria said. High Marshal Navaria. And in that moment, Wayne realized surviving the Drachnid might be easier than facing his new mother-in-law. The sky over New Eden turned white with light. Where Drachnid ships were black scars across the stars, these newcomers glowed like polished pearl. Their hulls shimmered in shifting colors as if the sky itself bent to welcome them. The sound was not thunder, but a deep, living hum that vibrated through the ground and chest. Colonists stopped running. Soldiers looked up. Even the children peeked from bunker doors. Hope had a shape, and it was descending from the clouds. Wayne McNab lowered his bow, his chest still burning from the last surge of power. He watched the fleet with eyes wide. They fly like birds, he whispered. Noria's feathers rose in pride. They are Avari, she said softly. Warriors of the sky, my kin. Drop pods fell like blossoms, petals opening in midair. They landed with perfect grace, folding into shining arcs that revealed squads of feathered warriors. Their armor was black and gold, trimmed with living plumes that shifted in color with every movement. They carried weapons that pulsed with soft blue fire. One of the first pods landed near Wayne's position. From it stepped a tall Avari woman with golden feathers at her temples. She moved with the calm of a veteran and the strength of a storm. Her eyes caught Wayne, and a smile flashed across her face. So this is the human, she said in perfect English. her tone half amusement, half approval. "The one who caught our scout's eye." "Talia," Noria said, her feathers fluffing in relief. "Wing Commander. Good to see you alive." Talia clapped Wayne on the shoulder, nearly knocking him sideways. "You fight well for one with no wings. The fleet has heard of your arrow strikes already." Wayne coughed. "Word travels fast in space." "Oh, faster than you think," Talia said with a grin. "Especially when a scout sends a report about choosing a human mate after one night." Wayne froze. His ears burned. She wrote a report. "Detailed," Talia said cheerfully. Noria's feathers flared with embarrassment. "Battle first, gossip later." Before Wayne could find words, the comms roared with a new voice. It was deeper than thunder, sharp as steel, and filled with command. "This is High Marshal Navaria of the Celestial Plume. Humans of New Eden, coordinate with my forces. Together we will drive back the Drachnid." The voice made every colonist stand straighter. Soldiers adjusted rifles without thinking. Even Wayne felt the weight of it. Noria's feathers trembled in both pride and nervousness. She met Wayne's eyes. "My mother," Wayne exhaled slowly. Of course, above them the flagship descended. It was larger than the colony itself. A mountain of mother-of-pearl metal etched with glowing lines like veins of fire. It did not fall, it glided, a living thing. When it stopped, the Drachnid fleet reacted. Black ships swarmed in fury, but the Avari answered like dancers of war. Fighters unfolded wings of light and streaked into the enemy line. Beams of pearl fire tore through the darkness. On the ground, Avari warriors joined human soldiers in tight formations. Shields overlapped, weapons sang. For the first time, Drachnid troops stumbled. Their rigid patterns could not bend against this new chaos of sky and ground together. Wayne loosed another arrow, striking a cyber soldier just as an Avari warrior spun beside him, feathers brushing his arm. The warrior gave a short nod of respect, then soared upward on glowing boosters. "Colonel Halley to all units," the comms barked. "Push forward. The Avari are cutting them open. Use the gaps." Noria was everywhere at once, her feathers flashing like signal fires. She shouted coordinates, directed troops, and cut down enemies with the elegance of a hawk in flight. Her presence made the humans braver. Her voice carried hope. Wayne kept pace, bow flashing, blade carving. But inside he carried a new dread. Soon, very soon, he would have to face the High Marshal not just as an ally, but as the human who had given her a grandchild. The thought was almost scarier than the Drachnid. "McNab," Chesler's voice shouted through the smoke. "Your alien in-laws are saving our hides. Think you'll survive meeting them?" "Shut up and shoot," Wayne growled. But his lips twitched in spite of himself. The battle raged for hours, but slowly the tide turned. Drachnid forces fell back, their black ships burning trails across the sky as they fled. The combined power of Avari flight and human grit was too much. When the last enemy broke and vanished into hyperspace, a cheer rose from both armies. Soldiers hugged. Colonists poured from bunkers. Children waved at the feathered warriors who soared above them like heroes from a dream. Wayne leaned on his bow, exhausted, smoke staining his beard. He looked at Noria. She stood tall, her feathers shining in the dawn light, her weapon still warm. For a moment, despite everything, she looked at him not as a commander, not as a warrior, but as something softer. Then the comm crackled. "This is High Marshal Navaria," the voice declared, calm and heavy as stone. "I will meet the human who carries my daughter's egg. Bring him to me." Wayne closed his eyes. "Of course." Noria's feathers trembled again, though this time with mischief. "Do not fear. My mother respects strength." Wayne gave a short laugh. "I just fought an invasion, and I'm still more afraid of this meeting." Together they walked toward the Avari flagship, smoke rising behind them and dawn breaking above. The command center of New Eden had been remade overnight. What was once a war room filled with smoke and alarms now looked like a strange blend of fortress, nursery, and research hall. Screens still glowed with defense data, but in the middle stood a shining incubator chamber. Inside, the blue-gold egg pulsed softly, alive with light. Wayne McNab stood stiff, his bow strapped across his back, his combat armor battered and ash-stained. He had fought off an invasion. He had saved civilians, yet his hands sweated like a boy waiting outside the headmaster's office. Because she was here, High Marshal Navaria of the Celestial Plume, commander of the Avari fleet, mother of Noria. She stood tall at the far end of the hall, feathers flowing like banners of fire and pearl. Her eyes were sharp enough to cut steel, Beside her, Noria looked almost small, though her feathers flared proudly. She gave Wayne the faintest smile of support, though he suspected she was enjoying his nerves. Navaria spoke. Her voice carried across the chamber with the weight of a storm. "So, this is the human," Wayne swallowed. "Wayne McNab, Chief Hunter, New Eden Colony." "You are also," Navaria said, her tone dry, "the male chosen by my daughter, the one who placed her egg in our care." Wayne's mouth opened, then closed again. "That sounds accurate." A ripple of amusement passed through the Avari warriors standing nearby. Captain Chesler coughed loudly, trying to hide a grin. Navaria's gaze did not waver. "You fight with courage. I have reviewed your strikes against the Drachnid. Effective, precise. You show potential." Wayne let out a slow breath. "Thank you, High Marshal." "But," Navaria added, feathers rustling, "a nest is more than battles. A father must provide, protect, and respect tradition. My daughter has broken many protocols for you. That is not a weakness, but it is a test." Noria stepped forward, feathers bristling. "Mother," Navaria lifted a hand. "Peace. This human has already proven he can shoot arrows into the dark and bring down machines. Now he must prove he can stand when the weight of family falls on his shoulders." Wayne nodded once. "Then test me." Navaria studied him a long moment. Then her eyes shifted to the egg. The incubator pulsed brighter than before. Blue-gold waves rippled across its shell. One of the researchers leaned close to a scanner. "Energy levels rising. Structural activity." "Oh my," a crack sounded, soft but sharp enough to freeze every voice in the room. The egg had split just a hairline down one side. "Already?" Noria whispered, her feathers trembling with emotion. "Hybrid vigor," muttered another researcher, scribbling notes. "Accelerated growth patterns." Navaria's feathers flared. Silence. "My grandchild is arriving." The room filled with awe. Soldiers leaned forward. Colonists pressed against the glass. Even hardened Avari warriors softened at the sight of the glowing shell. Wayne's heart pounded louder than the sirens ever had. He stepped closer, unable to look away. The egg moved in his hands not long ago. Now it was breaking. Another crack spread across the shell. Tiny shards flaked away, glowing as they fell. A faint trill came from inside, half whistle, half gurgle. Noria pressed against Wayne's side. Her hand found his, strong and trembling at once. "It is happening." Navaria's eyes glistened, though her voice remained steady. The first of a new line. A bridge between sky and ground. Suddenly, alarms blared. The outer sensors lit red. A cluster of Drachnid ships had not fled. They were returning, small but desperate, diving toward the colony. Colonel Halley cursed. "We need defenses back online now." Wayne tore his gaze from the egg. His instinct screamed to run to the wall to fight, but Noria gripped his hand tighter. "No, stay. Our child comes first. The fleet will hold them." Outside, Pearl ships moved into position, cutting off the Drachnid survivors. The walls shook faintly, but inside the command center there was no sound louder than the steady crack of the egg. One final snap echoed. The shell split wide, light spilling out like dawn breaking. Everyone held their breath. From inside pushed a small hand. Human-shaped, but tipped with soft gray-gold down. Then another. The shell gave way and a tiny form emerged, feathers wet but eyes bright. The child looked at them all, first at Noria, then at Wayne. A soft trill came, mixed with a gurgle of life. He reached toward them with a trembling hand wing. Noria's breath broke. "Our son." Wayne could not speak. His vision blurred. He lifted the child into his arms, feeling the tiny heartbeat, the tiny feathers against his chest. It was impossible, and it was real. Navaria stepped closer, her stern mask cracking into something warmer. "Phoenix," she said softly, voice trembling with pride. "Born of fire and sky." The name hung in the air like a blessing. Then the room shook again, this time harder. The remaining Drachnid slammed against the outer shield, desperate and furious. The war was not finished. Wayne looked at Noria, their son cradled between them. His voice was low, steady. "We fight after, but first we protect him." Noria's feathers flared in fierce agreement. Together. And in that moment, every colonist, every soldier, every Avari warrior in the hall felt it. The beginning of something larger than war. The birth of a future neither species had expected. The command center was hushed. All eyes were on the tiny form cradled in Wayne McNab's arms. The boy's skin was soft, but faint feathers shimmered along his shoulders and hairline. His eyes, half human and half Avari, shone like amber glass with streaks of green. Phoenix, Navaria had called him. Born of fire and sky. The newborn trilled softly, a sound between laughter and song. Then his feathers puffed and he wriggled free from Wayne's grasp. To everyone's shock, he floated just for a second an inch above Wayne's arms, before dropping gently back down. Gasps filled the chamber. Researchers scrambled to record. Anti-gravity glands. Developing this early. Incredible. Quiet, Navaria commanded, though her own eyes gleamed with pride. The child shows his strength. Respect it. Wayne looked at his son, stunned. He just flew. Not fully, Noria said, feathers trembling with joy, but enough to show what he will become. She pressed her forehead against Wayne's, then brushed her feathers over Phoenix's cheek. Our child is not bound to ground or sky. He will walk both. The moment of awe broke as another explosion shook the colony walls. The Drachnid remnants hurled themselves at the shield in desperate rage. Outside, Avari ships and human defenses pounded them back. The battle was ending, but not yet done. Colonel Halley's voice rang. We need final clearance on the eastern sector. They're tunneling again. Wayne handed Phoenix to Noria, then gripped his bow. He turned to Navaria. High Marshal, with respect, I need to fight. My people are still in danger. Navaria studied him, feathers flickering. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she nodded once. Go, show me again why my daughter chose you. Show me why this child will grow strong. Wayne sprinted from the chamber, his boots pounding the metal floor. Chesler fell in beside him, pulse rifle ready. You realize you just got permission from the scariest mother-in-law in the galaxy? Don't remind me, Wayne muttered. They reached the eastern sector where the ground buckled. A Drachnid burrower broke through, dragging a squad of cyber troops behind it. Wayne's arrows glowed faintly as he drew, the bond still alive inside him. He loosed 3 shots in a heartbeat, each striking weak points. The soldiers fell. The burrower screeched and collapsed in fire. Above, pearl-white Avari ships cut the sky clean, driving the last of the Drachnid into hyperspace. Within minutes, the battlefield grew quiet. Too quiet, then cheers rose. From humans, from Avari, together. The war for New Eden was over. Wayne walked back to the command center exhausted, smoke staining his armor, arms trembling. When the doors opened, he stopped. Noria stood in the center of the room, their son in her arms, feathers glowing gold in the light. Around them, colonists and warriors alike bowed their heads. Even Navaria looked softer now, her feathers spread like a halo. Wayne stepped forward. He touched Phoenix's tiny hand and the boy gripped his finger tight. A small trill came from the child, strong and full of life. Navaria's voice filled the chamber. Tradition says the nest is built by feather and song. But this child is not only Avari, he is more. He is new, so perhaps new traditions must begin. Wayne blinked. You'd allow that? Navaria smiled faintly, a rare warmth in her iron face. A wise warrior adapts, and a wise mother listens when the universe writes a new story. The colonists cheered. The Avari warriors raised their weapons in salute. Noria's eyes shone with tears as she pressed Phoenix against her heart. Wayne pulled her close, his voice low. Most humans go on a few dates before starting a family. Noria laughed, feathers brushing his cheek. Where is the fun in that? Chesler called from the back. Wait until the council hears this one. Guy spends one night with a feathered scout and boom. New species, new alliance, new in-laws. Laughter rippled through the hall, easing the weight of war. For the first time in days, the air felt lighter. Wayne looked at Noria, then at their son. The child cooed, feathers glowing faintly as he floated again for a heartbeat. It was a promise of more wonders to come. Phoenix, Wayne whispered, you'll grow up in a world built by 2 peoples together. Not bound by old rules, not trapped by old wars. He raised his eyes to Navaria. We'll build something better. Navaria inclined her head. Then you have my blessing, human hunter. Protect them, teach them, and perhaps guide us all into this new tradition. The chamber filled with cheers once more. Humans and Avari, ground and sky, bound not by fear but by choice. Wayne drew Noria close, their son between them, as dawn broke outside the colony walls. Smoke still rose, scars still burned, but above it all the sky shone bright. A future had been born.